Good evening, Planet of the Apes. Professor X here speaking. Today, we're going to cover some particularly interesting findings about NAKD. During the last couple of weeks, the Naked Army ran a couple of polls throughout their social media platforms such as Telegram, Reddit, and Facebook to estimate an unofficial share count. The results I'm going to show you were quite astonishing and were verified by 3 different analysts and double-checked by another 2 different analysts. The collected data was skewed to the right. This means that the majority of the holders have between 1 and 25,000 shares. Even though we know that almost 30 people hold shares in the range of millions, we were interested in generalizing our findings rather than making them particular to a certain group or a certain platform. So we went ahead and after running 10 to 15 Monte Carlo simulations, we managed to take our empirical distribution to a continuous probability distribution which behaved like the one you're seeing on the top right corner, which is called a logarithmic normal distribution. This logarithmic normal distribution behaved quite similarly if you compare the 2 charts. This told us that we were heading on the right path. However, we wanted to take it further. After some transformations and some modifications, we managed to take this distribution, which still said that the majority of the holders had between 1 and 20,000 shares, to this one. And this one might be more familiar to you because it is shaped like a bell, and this means that it is a Gaussian bell or a normal distribution. These 3 plots gave us 3 different estimations for the average share number every naked holder had. The empirical mean that we have is about 24,000 shares per holder, which is insane because the Naked Army is about 25,000 people, which would make us only these 25,000 people above the outstanding share number. However, when we generalized our distribution to a logarithmic normal, the average came down to 15,000 shares per holder, which was quite reasonable. We didn't want to inflate a lot these numbers, so we needed to generalize this into a normal distribution as the chart on the lower end of the screen. We got an average share number of 10,000 shares per holder. Why is this important? Yes, it may seem way lower than the empirical mean, but take just this into account. At the time of recording, there are 37,000 people holding NAKD on eToro. eToro has around 20 million registered users. If we just make a simple computation, we get that there is a 0.18% chance that every registered user on eToro, holds naked. We can generalize this probability to all brokerages and taking the reported numbers of users by eToro, Robinhood, Interactive Brokers, Fidelity, Vanguard, E-Trade, and TD Ameritrade, we got a population of 126 million retail investors using these platforms. If the naked apes represent just 0.1% of the retail population, which would be 0.001 of this number, we would be around 126,000 naked apes. They may not all be part of the Naked Army. So, if 126,000 people have an average share number of 10,000 each, we are around 1.3 billion shares. This is quite amazing because you know that the outstanding shares for NAKD is just about 782 million shares, which means that we have almost double the number of outstanding shares, just the retail population, without taking into account institutions, insiders. We already own twice the float.